he works in the British Council, I think. However, I did this mock test with him, and yeah, the full test. It was writing, task 1 and 2, and then speaking, reading, listening.
Okay, okay. All right, and what was the score you got?
Well, for writing, it was not easy. To be honest, I got a score of 7.
Okay, that's great.
Both in task 1 and task 2. He actually he showed me my results, and for speaking, I got 8, and I think for listening, I got 8. For reading, I got 7.5.
Okay, that's good news. So you're in.
Yeah, that's a total of 7.5 as a total score.
Okay, so you're in the right place. That's good. That's great. Okay, anyone else has any very good experiences with IELTS prep, IELTS exams? Anyone else done an IELTS exam before? We have, okay, we have Galaxy 9. Who's Galaxy 9? Someone didn't change their name.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay, so is this your first time here with on the Zoom lessons?
Yes.
Okay, so hi. Tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
My name is Rima. I currently live in Canada.
All right.
I have 3 kids. I'm a physician. I graduated from Tripoli University. I worked in Tajura Heart Center as a gynecological and obstetric doctor for 3 years. Then we traveled to Canada.
All right, that's good news. Now, what about your IELTS? Did you do the IELTS before, or are you planning on doing it?
Yes, I'm planning to do it.
Did you do any other Cambridge ESOL examinations, like maybe FCE or PET? Have you done any of those tests?
No, I didn't do.
All right. Okay. So for IELTS, the reason is I'm asking because I'm just trying to get the background information about the students here before we talk in more detail. Okay, so we also have Fatima, I think. Rima, were you the one who talked to me on Instagram? I think you mentioned.
Yes.
Okay, great. So that's the same Rima. Okay, good. What about Fatima? Fatima, hi, Fatima. Did you do the IELTS before? Have you any previous experience with Cambridge exams? I think Fatima is still on mute. Okay, what about Nairuz? We have Nairuz al-Kmeshi. Hi, Nairuz. Are you there? Okay, Fatima said it was a mock exam. I told you about it the other day. Okay, I can't remember anything, Fatima. You got 7. Okay, good. Okay, good. All right, so don't rely on my memory, okay? I don't think I'll remember anything after this lesson. It's like the Men in Black thing, you know, when they, after every lesson, it's the same with me. Okay, Wafat, Nairuz, tell us a little bit about your any previous experience with IELTS. If you can't talk or if you don't want to talk, you can just type in the chat. I'm just asking to get just background information about the exam. Okay, so so we'll wait for them whenever they answer. Let me talk a little bit about the IELTS and show you some material maybe and some exercises. Today I'd like to start with a reading exercise. Okay, now with reading, let me tell you what I've noticed from from students here in Libya with their skills. Okay, let me just get. Okay, so let me prepare the book. Okay, so here it is. All right. Okay, so before we start with our reading exercise, okay, so we have Fat Abd. So hi. We also have Abdurauf, our old and loyal friend. Sorry, I didn't say hi, Abdurauf. I think you're the only one I remember, but the rest I keep forgetting. Okay, so hi, is this Fat? Who's Fat Abd? Fatin? Is it Fatin? I'm guessing names now. Hello, can you tell us about yourself? I can't hear you, I think. Can you hear me? Okay, I think there's, let me check the chat. Where's the chat? Okay, it's my first half, I suppose. Okay, so you're Fatima. No, there's someone else. There's someone else in here. Okay, you're talking. I can see your mic. Okay. Okay, can you please hit mute, please? Fat Abd. Okay, I'm just going to mute you because you're a little too noisy. Okay, some very, very quick, let's call them, I don't want to say rules, but guidelines. Okay, so because this is a free lesson, so everybody is welcome, and I guess that's okay. But of course, it would be a lot easier if you write your, you don't have to write your full name, like your name, father's name. I don't want complete information about you. But if you write your first name, just your first name alone, that would be great. It would help me a lot because it's for me, it's easier to call the students by their first names. Of course, it's friendlier, and it just makes the lesson easier. So if you could use just your first names, that would be great. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about IELTS. I'm going to show you now an exercise in reading, and then I'll tell you a little bit about the goal here. So this book, I'm not sure if you could see the text, if it's I hope it's not too small, but let me show you. Let me share the screen, and then if you think it's too small, I can zoom in. Okay, could you please tell me if you could see if you can see the text here? Can you see the text? Or is it too small? can everybody see the text?
Yes, it's clear,
Is
Doctor.
it clear? Okay, thanks, Abdurrahman. Okay, now let me explain this exercise to you and the purpose of this exercise. So, okay, someone is writing something in the chat. Yeah, it's clear. I can see your mic, but there's no sound. Okay, it's clear for me. Okay, good. Okay, let me tell you about the question first and how the IELTS reading works. For those who don't know the IELTS reading exam, so the module, the reading module, is 40 questions. Okay, and in these 40 questions, what you need to do is you need to answer 3 different passages. Okay, so we have different types of questions in the IELTS exam. Now, I'm just going to very quickly show you the questions so you can see the types of questions we have in this article. Now, in this article, we have the true, false, not given question. Now, this is one of the interesting questions. Not many people like it, but it's one of the questions that will definitely be in your actual exam. So we have 6 questions which are true, false, not given. Okay, so this is our focus today on the true, false, not given question. It's one of the main questions in IELTS. Let me take you very quickly to other types of questions we have in IELTS prep. I think for those who attended the previous lessons with me, I showed them some of these questions, but for the new students we have today, I'm going to show you other examples. Like I said, in this text, we are going to discuss the true, false, not given question. Okay, so here, this is the true, false, not given question. This is the focus of our first exercise for the day. Okay, this is the first one we will do. We might do other ones because, like you can see here, we have a large variation of different different question types, and all of these are present in the real test. So you will find these questions in your real test. So it's a good idea to get used to each one on its own. So for now, we just happen to start with the true, false, not given question. Okay. So let me take you back to the text. Now I need your feedback here because I need you to read the text, and then each time you finish a paragraph, you tell me we finished it, so I can move on to the next paragraph. Okay. So so take your time reading this paragraph. Okay. So here we have paragraph 1 and part of paragraph 2. So just say finished, and I can scroll down. Okay, so you can start reading. Let me show you the heading: whistling in La Gomera. Okay, so let's move down to the second paragraph. Okay, let's move to the next paragraph. Okay, shall we move to the next paragraph or not yet? Okay, good. So next paragraph. Let me zoom in. I think this is too much. Maybe it's too much. Zoom out. Okay, now it's better. Okay, can I move to the next one? All right, okay, so next one. I think this is the last, no, not the last. The one before last, I think. Okay, I'm going to move down a bit. Okay, let's move a bit. And this is the last paragraph. Okay, let me know when you're done. Okay, so Wafaz done. Okay, what about everyone else? Are you done? Have you finished? Okay, so everyone's done. Okay, so someone else typing, I think. Okay, now let me zoom out. Now I'm trying to see if I can show you the questions and the text at the same time, but I don't think it's possible. But I'm going to try to make some changes. Let's see. I think it's not possible. No, it's not possible now. Okay, never mind. Let me go back to the normal view. See this one. I think we might be able to do something. Okay, sorry, I'm just trying out a few ways of changing the page view to see if we can. Okay, so let me show you the questions now. Okay, I think you will have to speak here because we want to have a discussion and everybody's on silent mode. But please, this is a lesson. You need to communicate your thoughts. So here, let me show you the questions. Now we have a true, false, not given question. Before we answer the questions for this text, let's talk a little bit about the true, false, not given question. Okay, so this one it says this is a little test spot. So here this is a little tip or a hint on how to use these questions. So this question asks about factual information. And in the real exam, the questions are always in the same order of the text, okay? So what this means is, for example, number one, this means the question comes from the beginning of the text. Well, even if it's not in the beginning of the text, it's definitely before number two in order of the text. So this means if you're looking for the answer of number one, you need to look, and when you find it, number two is not going to be above number two. Number two is not going to be above number one in the text. It's always going to be below it. Do you get what I mean here?
Yes.
Yeah, my point is order. The questions are in order because some of the IELTS questions are not in order. This one, the true, false, not given, is always in order, okay? So it's in the same order. It says it's a good idea to underline the part of the text where you find the answer. This will help you to see if the answer is not given, okay? So we'll talk a little bit about what this means when we say not given. I'll talk about it in a bit. Now, let's do the questions first, and then we'll discuss this type. So number one here, it says, Silbo Gomero began to disappear with the introduction of more modern technology. Okay, so we have, I think we have some new students. We have Taha. Okay, Taha, hi. It's a little noisy where you are, so if you could go to a quiet place or maybe mute your mic, Taha. Okay, so now let me take you to the beginning of the text, because if you want to look for number one, we need to go to the beginning of the text, okay? So I'm going to take you to the beginning of the text. So you can find the question. Let's look at the question again. So it says here, Silvo Gomero began to disappear with the introduction of more modern technology. Is this true? Is this false? Or is it not given in the text? Let's see. So let's go to the first paragraph. Okay, I have a better idea, guys. Because this way it's a little hard because you need to check the question and check the question, the text at the same time. So let's just copy the questions here. And let me try something. This might make it easier for you. Okay, so just give me a tiny minute here. I'm just going to copy the questions so we can place them on the side of the screen. And this way we can check out. Hello, okay, I think I had a little disconnection at the mic. Okay, so I was saying now the questions are on the left side, so you can see the questions and we can see the text at the same time. So let's check the example, by the way. We forgot about the example question. Let's just check it and see how it's answered. So the example question, it says, Silbu Gomero was only used face-to-face. So the answer, of course, this is false.
False.
Yeah, and the reason for this, because it says the information giving the answer is underlined in the text. So they use these two sentences and a half. These indicate the false answer. So
yes,
yeah, it's clear.
It was used to communicate up to 3 kilometers. So this is not face-to-face.
Exactly. It's the opposite of what's in the question, right? So if the information in the text is the opposite of what you have in the question, then you should use false if there's a contradiction. Yeah. Now, because this little note is important to make a distinction between false and not given. So you'll see what not given in a bit. Okay, let's see if we can do number 1 together. So maybe number one is in the second, I think maybe paragraph, not in the first.
Yes.
Because the first one we already agreed. Remember the rule with the true, false, not given. It's always in order. So this means the answer for number one, it will not be before 0. Do you get the point? So this means we cannot find the answer of number one here. Okay, who would like to give me the answer to number one?
This is true.
Okay.
So we have the answer on the 10th line. Selbogamaru had started to die out. Of course, because of the arrival of the telephone, and this is the technology.
Okay, who agrees with Shahad? Because I don't want to give the answers just yet. I want to have a little check first. Who thinks Shahad's answer is right? And if so, why? And who thinks it's not right? And we'll see why. Okay, so Wafa, she agrees with you. Anyone else?
Yes,
Abrof also.
she is correct.
All right. Okay, so anyone else?
Yes, it's true.
Okay, I also think it's true. Okay, so we have about 4 people who think it's true, and then we have the silent observers. Okay, now number two. So here I'm not going to give the answers just yet because I'm going to show you the answers later. Someone else is typing true. Nairuz also thinks it's true. All right, so number 2, this time someone else is going to answer it, not Shahad, someone else. Okay, so let's read number 2. It says, school children in La Gomera enjoy learning Silva Gomero. If you need me to go a little bit down with the text, just tell me. Okay, so Nairuz thinks it's not given. Who agrees with Nairuz?
Not given.
Okay, I also think it's not given. But remember, by the way, whenever you choose an answer, someone else is writing something in the chat. Okay, Wafa thinks it's true. Okay. Do you mean true for number 1 or number 2, Wafa? I don't know. So number 2, 1. Anyways, whenever you choose true, false, not given, always keep in mind that, okay, no, number 2. So true number 2, Wafa thinks it's true number 2. Okay, so the question I'm always going to ask, of course, this is irrelevant in the exam, but here for practice, I'm going to tell you, show me which part that you inferred your answer from. Which part did you read that made you decide number 2 is true, or number 2 is false, or number 2 is not given, okay? So I'm going to start with Nairuz. Nairuz said it's not given. So from which part did you infer, which part and in which paragraph did you infer it's not true? Which one? Anyone else has an answer for this?
Yes.
Okay.
Which is enough to understand the basics. So the school children don't say enjoy learning this language.
Okay, which sentence is this? Before the one where you said enough to...
the 15th line.
Yeah, 15th line, yeah, which is enough to understand the basics.
Yes.
Okay, so this is the sentence where they talked about the relationship between the children and the language, right? And
yes.
in text, they didn't say they enjoyed it or not, right? They just said it's enough to understand the basics. You might be right. I don't want to give the answers yet, but let's say for now, number 1 is true and number 2 is not given. But I think until now, Rima and Nairuz, they think it's not given. Aya, what did you
and me?
And Shahad, also not given. She thinks it's not given. What about Aya? What do you think? Do you think it's not given?
Yeah, I think it's not given because it's not mentioned that they enjoy. So it's not mentioned.
All right. Okay.
Me.
Okay. let's say it's not given. What about number 3? School children on the island
False.
have a 25-minute lesson in Silbo Gomero once a day. What do you think? This one, I think it's sort of obvious, this number 3. It's not too tricky.
Yes.
So Nairuz says it's false. Yeah, Abdurrauf also says it's false. I think this one, let's just decide it's... Should we just decide, all of us, unanimously, that it's false? I think we can.
Yes, it's false.
It's clear, it's obvious, yeah. Okay, let's leave number 3, it's obvious. Number 4. I think number 4, we need to move down in the paragraphs.
Yeah.
Okay, it's this paragraph. So number 4, it says, Eugenio Darius is the best teacher of Silbo Gomero on the island.
Not given.
Okay, anyone else agree or disagrees with Chad?
Not given.
Okay, not given. Not given, Nairuz says. What do you think, Abdurrauf?
I think it's not given.
Okay, which sentence does it say not given?
Because it's not given, so you wouldn't say.
A teacher of
the sentence.
Silbo Gomero and director of the island Silbo program without any information about that he is best.
Okay, so there's nothing that talks about whether he's
Yeah.
the best or not. But he is mentioned, right? The name is mentioned.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because he's director of the island
About-
Silbo program.
About the necessity of teaching this language, I think.
Okay, so there's the necessity, yes. Okay, so let's say not given for number 4. I think most of you agree. Now, number 5. Having an international conference on the island is believed to be a good thing for the future of Silbo Gomero. I think we need to check the next paragraph to see this. Okay, so we have the paragraph on your left side. What do you think? Do you think it's true, false?
I think true. True.
True. Anyone else? agrees
Important
with-
step. Yes, true.
Okay. So Shahid and I think it's true. And Nairuz says it's true. I think Wafa also says it's true. I think most of you agree it's true. Okay, what about number 6? It would be impossible to adapt Silbo Gomero to English. Let's see this. So we need to go to another paragraph. Let's see if we can find it here. Okay, let's see. False. Nairuz is not sure, but she thinks it's false. Okay, which sentence did you infer that it's false, Nairuz? From which part of the paragraph did you infer it's false? Wafa also thinks it's false. Okay.
Okay, where it says there are whistled at different frequencies using Spanish grammar. If we spoke English, we'd use an English structure for whistling. So this clearly indicates that it's definitely not impossible.
Aha, very good. So there's a contradiction here because in the question it says it's impossible, but in the text it says we could do it for English, right?
Yes.
Yes. So what do you think, the rest of the class here? Do you agree with Nairuz's answer here with her deduction? Do you think it's right?
Yes.
Do you think number 6 is false, or do you think it's ungiven, not given? What do you think?
False.
Okay, so Rima thinks it's also false. What about Aya and Chad? What do you think? Number 6.
Yeah, it's false.
False. Okay. Okay, so let's see our answers before we check them together, and then we'll see if we have any mistakes, and then we'll discuss them a bit. So we agreed that number 1, we agreed that it was true, I think, right?
Yes.
What about number 2? We said it's
Not given.
We said it's not given. Number 3?
False.
False.
We said it's false. Yeah, I think number 3 was the only one we all agreed on.
Yeah,
Number
agree.
4?
Not given.
Not given.
We said it's not given. And number 5, we said it's
True.
True.
true. And number 6, according to Neyruz's analysis, it's false.
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 Okay, so let me show you the answers. So here, let's see the answers. Can you see the answers?
Yeah.
And here, okay, I want to show you which part of the text that contained the answer. This is important for us for practice purposes. Okay, so number 1, it's true, because like we said, it's like I think Shahad said, the tourism and the telephone thing that caused Silbodomero to die out. Number 2, we also, I think we answered it correctly. There's nothing that says if the children enjoy it or not, so it's not mentioned. Number 3, it's clearly false because it's 25 minutes a week. And number 4, it's true, like we, number 4, we answered it correctly, I think. Is the best teacher.
Yeah.
We said it's not given because it doesn't
Yes.
talk about his teaching. The text doesn't talk about his teaching. Now, number 5, an important step.
Of course, true.
True. And number 6, like Neyruz said,
Yeah.
if we spoke English, we'd use an English structure. Okay, so now, what's your sort of impression of this question? What do you think of this question? Your overall impression?
I think it's really easier than the real exam.
Okay, that's actually true.
But according to your illustration in the first lecture, I think this is consuming time because we have a lot. Yeah.
Exactly, that's exactly right, yes. Now this is what I wanted to come to. Now you can see that because I think we've spent almost 30 minutes on this question alone. But remember, we're just doing it for practice purposes. So we can even spend an hour and that would be fine. It's not an issue.
We need hard work. We need practicing IELTS.
That's the thing. Now, in a real exam situation, if we're going to use the little equation we agreed on last time, because I think for the new guys here today, for Taha and the rest of the guys, Neyruz, and the other ones who didn't attend our previous week when I talked about IELTS. But I think the videos, you can find them on the page. There are about 3 videos. I think they have these points which I'm going to talk about now. Now with IELTS, because you have 40 reading questions, do you see how many questions did we did? We did 6. So we did
Yes.
We did 6 out of 40. In a real exam situation, these are 6 from 40, right? They have 1 hour. And this 1 hour that they give you doesn't even include the time to copy your answers. So in reality, let's say you don't have 60 minutes, you have 50. If you want to leave 10 full minutes, just in case you make a mistake or you get confused, it's safer to leave 10 minutes in your reading. So what we did is we answered 6 out of 40 and we spent 30 minutes. Of course, in a real exam situation, this would have been a disaster. But here we're just, like I said, we're just practicing. So this is one point. And another point is this book, this is a sort of an intermediate more of an intermediate level IELTS. So this is for people who want to score 6 maybe. It doesn't target, this is more for B2 level. Upper intermediate A, intermediate B. So this is slightly lower than the level you might see in a real test. Okay, so even the difficulty, it's a little easier here for practice purposes. But the thing which is the same as the real exam is this question, this actual question, the one we just did, this format, the true, false, not given. This is one of the real IELTS task questions. So this means in the real test, you will find a question like this, 100%. And it might be even repeated. You might find it in more than one passage. You might find it in 2 passages. So this is what we got from this exercise, really. We just got practice on a real IELTS task type question. This is I think the purpose here. Okay. Now I'm going to show you an example of another question. Also another factor why we took more time, because on the screen it's a little harder with the text, right? So this is another thing that took some time.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, now I'm going to take you to another reading test because I want to focus a little more on reading before we end the lesson. So I'm going to also take you to another real IELTS task type question. Now here, this is a question that I think it's also, this one is also true, false, not given. Okay. Now you'll see the difference here, because this one is also true, false, not given, but I think the difficulty is a little different, okay? So let me take you to the text first. Let me show you the text. So before we continue, I want to share with you a few tips, or let's say some trivia or some information that might help you with the true, false, not given. They sometimes call it the yes, no, not given, or true, false, not given. It's the same thing. And in your real test, if you write it FTNG or YNNG, it's fine. Okay, so let's read this little tip here. Okay, this part is here, the advice. Now, this is some useful advice on how to tackle or how to handle the true, false, not given question. So the first thing it says, skim the whole passage before you start working on any of the tasks, and then read the instructions so that you know what you need to do. They are not always phrased in the same way. So I think this is obvious, and this is what we did. We skimmed the text first, and then we went to the questions. So this is obvious. Read the first statement. It may help to underline keywords. Okay, so this is also, I think, obvious. Now, number 3, it says, look through the passage to find the relevant information and think carefully about what it means. Underline the part of the text that contains the answer. Now there's something in the real exam. It's a skill. I don't know if those who've done the exam, for example, Aya, when you did your mock exam, what did you do with the reading? Did you underline while you were skimming? Did you skim, or did you go to the questions directly? How did you handle?
No, I think highlighting, underlining would help a lot in reading, especially in the questions that are given. Yes, so I think underlining. Definitely. So that would be like time management. I wouldn't go through the whole paragraph, maybe.
Okay. So this means you underline it before you go to the question, right?
I'd read the question before.
Okay. All right. Decide if the answer agrees. Now here what they're referring to. This is actually before you actually go to the questions. Here it says that contains, here you're underlining something that you suspect, that you haven't even got to the skimming and keywords. That's the thing, yes, because we're looking for keywords. So you're just skimming, and if you think this is a keyword, just underline it just in case, because there's a very big chance that it's part of an answer to a question in the question section. So here now the new question that arises is, how do we spot a keyword? Or how do we know this is a keyword when we are reading the text? Who could tell me? How do we spot a keyword? For example, Wafa here, she said keywords, which is exactly right. How do we know this word is a keyword? What do you think? Any answers?
Sometimes the word is a synonym of any word of the question.
Okay, okay. But we still didn't get to the question section yet. We are still in the text. We didn't get to the question section yet. Now, my question is, how do we know a keyword before we get to the question?
We can't know.
Okay, so this is one
opinion. Maybe when we have a new idea.
Okay, a new idea. Okay, this is also a good answer. Any other answers? How we can spot a keyword before we
dates
go to the
or
question?
Numbers.
Correct. That's correct. Dates, numbers. These are keywords.
Names, maybe.
Names. Correct.
Places.
Places, maybe. Correct. Correct. All of this is true because when you're skimming, so skimming is basically you're reading, but you're not focusing on specific words. You're just trying.
You're not searching for something.
You're not searching. You're not scanning. You're just quickly reading with your sort of just moving with your eyes. So in a real exam, many IELTS instructors would advise you to, with your pencil, whenever you think a word is a keyword, whenever you have a doubt it's a keyword, all you need to do is just underline it quickly. So if there's a date, if there's a number, if there's a name of a person, if there's a name of a place, just quickly underline it while you're skimming the text. And when you get to the question, there's a very big chance the part that you underlined before you got to the question, that part is an answer to something in the question. So you've saved yourself some time by this quick underlining. So this is something important. And this is not only for the true, false, not given question, by the way. This is a general rule whenever you're skimming. Okay, there's a question. Skimming, please, again, this part. Okay, with that. So there are a few different ways of tackling or handling a reading passage. Okay, because in your biggest enemy in the real IELTS exam, especially in the reading module, your enemy is time. Now, with enough time, you can, it's doable. You can do it. Even if it's hard, with enough time, of course you could do it. But the problem, you have a double difficulty of not easy questions and not enough time. So we need to manage our time. One technique is, this is not my technique. For some people, they skip reading the text at all. They just skip it altogether. They just leave it. They don't even read it. They just jump to the questions and then they start scanning. Okay, for some people this works. For me personally, when I did my exam, I didn't do this. I'm one of the people who prefer the other method, which is skimming. And this is the same thing they're telling you here in the book. And this is what you said, Wafa, skimming. Now, skimming can be done in two ways. You can do normal skimming, or you can do skimming plus underline. Now, this is what I advise, and this is, I think, what they're telling you here also in the tips here. This is what they're telling you. So the idea is when you're skimming, you shouldn't normally stop, right? Even when you're underlining, don't stop. You're just moving with your eyes. If you see a name, just quickly underline it and leave it. Don't pay too much attention to it. Don't try to figure out what this name relates to or what this name did, or what this date means. That doesn't really matter. All you need to do is just underline it. This is your goal. I think you typed something. Yeah, that's it. So this way, the underlined part, when you get to the question, and you'll probably think, oh yeah, I underlined that person. Oh, okay. This helps you with the scanning process. Okay, so this is just like think of it like a latte with caramel. So you have your latte, which is skimming, and then you have a little bit of caramel. It's an addition. It's optional, but it helps because they always advise you to skim using a pencil, just or your finger, because if you do it with your eyes, maybe you'll be tempted into reading, and you don't want to read. There's a very big difference between skimming and reading, by the way. Reading is just very quickly visually identifying what the text is or what the text is about. But reading or looking for information, scanning is a completely different thing, which you don't have time to do in the real test. So you mean you need to read the whole paragraph. This is the thing, the word read, this is the issue. With some people, like I said, because imagine you're reading a magazine article in your first language. So imagine we are reading a magazine, Zahrat al-Khalij or whatever, any Arabic language magazine, right? How do you normally read a magazine in your own language? How do you read it normally? Do you read word by word, or do you just sort of look for the photos, and if you see anything interesting, you stop?
Look for celebrities' names.
Yeah, maybe you're looking for names, you're looking for ages of actors, I don't know, price of furniture, right? You're not really reading the whole thing.
Yeah.
You're just sort of going across the whole thing. This is actually what you need to do in your IELTS test. Now doing this in a second language is a lot harder because your brain doesn't want you to do this. Your brain wants to understand. It wants to see what's in the text. So when you try to skim, your brain is resisting you. It's saying, no, I want to read this. And you have to fight your brain because your brain wants to read slowly. And your brain is a little stubborn. Your brain doesn't understand that you're under a tight time limit, right? So you need to sort of resist your intuition to read and just sort of go crazy through the text. Now, my advice is if you can't do this, if you can't skim, because some people can't skim, just leave the text. Don't read it, don't skim it, jump to the questions, because when you're looking for the answers, you're going to read it anyways, right? You don't have time to read it twice. You barely have enough time to look for the answers when you get to the question section. So this is, it's sort of, you have to balance yourself, because do you know what the native level skimming speed is? Do you know how many words a native can skim in 1 minute? Do you know how many? Who could give me a guess? How many words can a native skim in 1 minute? Here by native, I even mean us native Arabs. Do you know how many words we can skim in 1 minute if it's in Arabic? If it's a newspaper or a magazine, how many words do you think you could skim?
100.
Hundreds, not 100. Actually, it says 300. 300.
Really?
Yeah, 300. So you could go through 300 words if you're only skimming, by the way, which, like we said, is just checking what it's about. And if there's something that catches your eye, maybe you underline it, maybe you check it. But if you're just skimming very quickly, you could go through 300 words in 1 minute. So of course, in English, this will be a little harder for us because, like I said, even if you're a higher level student, your brain still wants to understand the text. It doesn't want to go through it like this. So if you could do it in this speed, or maybe a little slower, by little slower, I mean, maybe because each IELTS text is about 700 to 800 words. So if we're using the native level skimming speed, so this means for each 600 words, you need 2 minutes to go through the whole text, right? Let's give you 3 minutes, for example. If the skimming of a full text, and I'm going to show you what I mean by full text, okay? Let me take you to a real mock test, because last time I showed you some of these, so I'm just going to show you another one of these, just to show you how a real text, how long a real text looks like and how much time you should spend. Okay, now this is an example of a passage in a real test, in a mock test, but it's basically the real thing. So let's look at how long this is. So we have this, and we have this paragraph. This is the first one. Second paragraph, we have this third, we have this fourth, fifth. So these are 5 paragraphs. Did you see it? So we have about 2 full pages of text. Do you see this? This is between, according to the statistics, this is between 600 to 700 words. Okay, so how long should you spend skimming this in a real test? Can you skim this in 3 minutes? Who thinks they can skim this in 3 minutes? All of this. Do you think you can do this?
Quite hard to.
It's not impossible, but it's hard. I agree with Abdurrauf. This actually needs practice, because one of the things we do, maybe, yeah, that's a reasonable answer, maybe yes. With a little bit of practice, even 4 minutes, it's I think it's sort of acceptable if you could skim it in 4 minutes. But if you're going to take 5 or more, my advice is just leave the whole thing. Perhaps in 4. Perhaps in 4.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because the thing is, if you're going to spend more than 4 minutes here, and you have 3 texts, remember you have 3 passages. So imagine 4, 4, 4. You've wasted 12 minutes, and you had 50, right? So now you have 38 minutes, and you still haven't done any questions. You get my point here. Do you see how time is just slipping? It's slipping through your hands. So that's why if you think you cannot skim fast, leave it, and just what you should do. If for example, let's imagine I'm a slow skimmer, so I just see all of this text. I'm like, what the hell? This is too long. I just go to the questions directly and save myself the trouble. So, okay, no more than 3 words, your answers. What is the life expectancy of Earth? And then I go and look. So I'm going to read anyways. Do you get the point? You don't have enough time to do it twice. So this is the secret with skimming. It's like a double-edged sword. It could be your friend and save you time. It could be your foe, your enemy, and it could waste your time. It's a tool, depending on how you use it. A bit like the internet. You could use it to learn, or you could use it to waste your time. Skimming is a bit like this. So it depends. For me, I personally, like I said, I like skimming, and I'm okay. My skimming speed is okay, and I was able to skim fast enough, I think. So now let's use the skimming part here, and let's see if we're able to skim. But before we do this, let's see the last 2 tips, and then we'll come back to the skimming thing. Okay, so the last 2 tips, it says, continue with the other statements in turn. If you can't find the relevant part of the passage, it probably means that the statement is not given. So here they're just giving you, and I think we've used this skill in the previous exercise. So if you can't find relevant information in a true, false, not given question, this of course means that the answer to the question is not given. Like when we did the Silbo Romero, and it said that Darius is a good teacher. Nothing talks about that, so it's not given. And if whether the children enjoyed the lesson or not, also nothing talks about that, so it's not given. Always give an answer. Okay, this is an interesting point. And this is for all questions, by the way, in reading. It's not only for the true, false, not given. It says you won't lose any marks if it's wrong. If you're not sure, choose not given. So this is a very statistical tip. So what I mean here by statistical is, imagine you run into a question that you have no idea whether it's true, whether it's false, whether it's not given, okay? And you're out of time, and you're either going to leave it empty, leave an empty gap in front of question number 7 or 8 or whatever, or you're going to give an answer. Why do you think it's better if you give an answer than leaving it? What do you think?
Not given.
Maybe it will be true by chance.
Exactly, this is the thing. It's a chance. It's a chance you have to take, because you only have 3 options. So you have a 33% of getting the right answer. So if you put F, there's a 33% you're right. If you put T, or if you put not given. Whatever you put, there's a 33% chance your answer is correct. But if you leave the answer blank, what does this mean? This
will be
means
100%
wrong.
not correct, yes.
You'll have a 100% zero mark.
Zero marks, yes.
Zero points on that question. So if you're desperate, leave anything. And here it says, if you're not sure, choose not given. This is an extra point. So it says here, let's say you're confused. Is this answer false or is this answer not given? By the way, the only difficulty in the true, false, not given question is this specific point. The candidates or the students who are preparing for the exam, they know this is not true, okay? Because it's easy to tell, not easy, easier. It's easier to tell if something is true or not, but it's harder to tell if it's false or if it's not given. Sometimes it can be a little confusing. And in this exercise, I'm going to show you why sometimes it can be, is this true? Is this false? Is this not given? I know it's not true, but I don't know if it's false or not given. So this might happen in the real exam. And I think it might happen in this text, okay? So, so now the last piece of information, it says, this passage is similar to those in the academic reading module and section 3 of the general training. It's only 600 words. Okay. So what they're saying here basically is this text is actually more similar to the real exam than the Silbo Gomero. Because I don't know if you've noticed, the Silbo Gomero is a little short. It's about 300, 400 words. So it's a lot shorter than the real text. It's a lot shorter than this one. For example, this is a real length text. This could be maybe 700 or a little more. So the one we're going to practice now, the one we're going to do now, this is 600 words. So it's still a little shorter than the real text, than the real passages in your IELTS exam, but it's closer than the one we just did, okay? And again, the focus is true, false, not given. So this time, let's try to do the skimming. Would you like to try to skim the text and see how long you take to skim it? Or do you want to just read it and just try to answer? If you want, we could focus on both. We could do a little bit of skimming practice and then do the questions. But if you want to just read, that's fine. So let's have a vote on this. Who'd like to practice skimming? Who'd like to do the skimming thing? And who'd like to just read it normally, take as much time as they want? What do you think? So let's see the votes. So we have our first vote. Skimming.
I think we should practice on skimming.
Okay, so Neru says skimming, Aya says skimming. Let's see if anyone else wants to skim this. Abdurrahman, what do you think? Karima and Wafa, what's your opinion on this? Should we give it a try? Okay, everybody's suddenly quiet. Okay, so let's do the skimming thing, okay? So I'm going to time you, and I'm going to see how long you could, how long you take to skim this, okay? So here, let me just wait for, okay, so let me just wait until it hits 32, and then we could start. Okay, you can start now. Start skimming. I'm going to keep moving, by the way.
I don't know about you guys, but I can't quite read this.
Is it too small?
Screen. No, I can only see halfway through the text.
Okay, because it's, you mean not the whole text.
Yes.
I don't think you could see the whole text because we'd have to zoom out too much, but let's try this. Okay, tell me if you can still see it. Can you still see it like this? Or is it
No,
too small, right?
it's too small.
Yeah. I think this is as much as we can go, I think.
Use two
Small.
fingers to
It's
zoom
too
in.
small.
It's better to use two
Yeah,
fingers.
this is okay.
Okay, so do you mean zoom out and then you can zoom in? Let's try this. Can you zoom in with your two fingers? Does it work? And is it clear? Can you read it if you do that?
Yes.
It does
Yes.
work.
It does?
Yes, it's work.
Yes, it does actually.
Okay, wow. Good. We've discovered something that helps me and helps you. Okay, this is great news. Thank you, Abdurauf. You should really be my assistant. I think we need a tech.
You are always welcome.
We need a tech savvy person. Okay, sorry. Okay, now the whole page is there.
Okay, so maybe restart the timer.
I've already started, to be honest, but let's do it again. Let's try it, because I think most of you have already been reading. But okay, we can set the timer. Now it's let's wait for the 30-second mark, and when it hits 30 seconds, okay. So 3, 2, 1, go. Okay. So Nehru's is done. I'm going to move. If you haven't finished skimming, let me know. So this left side, left. Okay, we finished 3 minutes. Have you finished skimming? Okay. Fa finished. I also finished. All right. Okay. So, like I said, 3 minutes is a reasonable time. It's okay. Because if you spend just 3 minutes in a text and it will save you later, that's good. I think it's okay. All right. So now questions. Let's see the questions. So we have the true, false, not given questions. Okay, Abdrouf, how can we use the sticky tips here? Where's the sticky thingies? I think they should be here. Because
you mean sticky notes?
the sticky notes, I want to use them for the question so it could appear
You can
even when it goes back.
use the search bar below.
Okay. The search.
Yes, yes, yes. Try to write sticky note. Sticky note.
Let's see.
It's a tool on your desktop.
Now this one is for it. This is search.
No. It's not on your PDF. It's on your laptop.
You mean on the
Yes,
Zoom
press
itself?
No, the Windows itself.
Yeah. You mean the I think it's you do it when you press Shift 5 times, as far as I remember.
Yes. Try to open start button. And yes, search there. Yeah. Yes, sticky notes. Right, sticky note.
Okay, so this one I can just copy it.
Yes.
Okay, let's see if we can copy this, because some books are protected. We might not be able to copy. But I think we could do this.
It's locked, I think.
Yeah, it's locked. But it's okay. There's an easier way. Like last time, I can just very quickly screen print it. But okay, let's read the questions first, just so you can get an idea what they are before we screenshot them. So it says here, most people are aware that major function of language is to communicate ideas. Do you think this is true, false, not given, or should we just wait until I prepare this and then after that? Okay, so okay, so now this is ready. So let me take you to the first part of the text, because remember, like we discussed earlier, with the true, false, not given question, I'm going to zoom out, and you can do the finger zoom in. Is it okay like this? I think this is easier now. So you could see the first half of the text. Oops, sorry. Yes, now you can see the whole thing. Is it all right now? Can you work with it like this? Oops. Sorry, another thing, we need to also time the questions. How long should you spend in 8 questions? Remember, we have 40 questions. These are 8 out of 40. So how long do you think we should take? How long do you think we should spend in this question? What do you think?
Probably 1 minute to 1 minute and a half.
You mean per each point?
Yes.
For each question. That's actually very close, yes. If we divide 40 over 50, 40 questions over 50 minutes, you end up with 1 minute point 25 seconds for each question. So it's almost a minute and a half. So this means if we multiply 8 by a minute and a half, we will have 8 plus half, 12. Right? So this should take you only 12 minutes. Okay? So I'm going to time you, and I'm just going to give you 12 minutes. You should be able to do this in 12 minutes. Because remember, the level of this book is a little lower than the real thing. So let's time 12 minutes. Your 12 minutes start now. It's 9:45 now. So at 9:57, the time is over, okay? So when you finish the first half of the book, when you finish the first half of the text, just let me know so I can pull down the second half, okay? So your time has started, 12 minutes, not more. Okay, so Nairuz is done with the first part of the questions. Should I move to the second part of the text, or what about you other guys? Oops, sorry. Should I move or not yet? Aya says yes. I think I need another yes before I can move. Wafa, Shahid, what about you guys? Abdurruf says okay. Rima also says okay. Okay, so let's move to the second part. Now, second part. Okay, someone's talking. Okay, so Nuruz is done. Okay, you finished in a very good time. You finished this in about 6 minutes. 6 minutes, which is really good. Aya is also done. Okay, so we still have Rima, Abdurrauf, and Shahid. Wafa. Abdurrauf is done. Rima is done. So let's see if Wafa is done. Okay, Wafa and who else is left? I think only Wafa. Okay, so let's check the answers. I think we spent about 10 minutes. So 10 minutes is, I think, more than enough for this question. Okay, so let's discuss the answers. So let me take you back to the beginning of the text. So this is our beginning of the text, the first half of the passage. So here it is. And here are our questions. So now let's see. Okay, so let's find the answers together and let's see. So what do you have for number one? Who'd like to do number one? And then who'd like to tell me why? So it says here, most people are aware that a major function of language is to communicate ideas. Is this true? Is this false? Is it not given? And why? And where did you find the text that you inferred the answer from?
True.
Okay, Aya thinks it's true. Why do you think it's true, Aya?
The first line, it says to communicate our ideas is the answer that most of us would give to the question. So
okay, and it looks like
most people are aware. Yeah, I think.
Okay, and it also seems that Nehru sort of agrees with you. So let's write true for this question. Now, the second one, we communicate ideas every time we use language. What do you think of this one, guys? Do you think it's true? Do you think it's false? And why?
Maybe it's true, I think.
Okay, Abdurrauf thinks it's true.
We are using language in order to exchange facts and opinions.
Okay, so you're okay. Let me just here because I just used the text. Okay, let me just refresh the screen. So we agreed that number one is true. So let's just try it. What about number two? What do you think?
I think it's false.
Okay. Why do you think it's false?
But it would be wrong to think of it as the only way in which we use language.
So this is the opposite of what Abdurrauf said. So,
Yes.
so we have opposite answers. So who agrees with Abdurrauf and who agrees with Rima?
Go with Rima.
You agree with Rima? Okay, so Abdurrauf changed his opinion and he thinks this is false. False or not given? What do you think?
The problem it's about each time. Yeah.
What about, let's see the opinions of the rest of the class.
I think I'm confused between not given and false.
Okay, so let's put both options, false or not given, and we're not sure, so we can find out. Okay, so for number two, we're not really sure. It could be false, it could be not given. What about number three? Okay, so Rima, what do you think? Meiruz says, I think it's false. Okay, what do you think, Rima?
I think false, because but there are also many words that we use to express positive feeling.
You're talking about number three, right?
Yes, yes.
So you think it's false? And
yes.
the sentence you used is which one?
I missed the sentence really because the words is very small.
You can zoom using your phone with both fingers. Can you do this? Just
yeah,
zoom.
I do it.
Yeah? Is it still small?
It's okay.
Okay. So who agrees with Rima? She says it's...
Excuse me. So the one
so-
I thought was false was the second one, not the third one.
Okay, so you think number 2 is false. Now, what about number 3?
Yes. I think it's true.
Can be used whether or not we are only alone.
Number 2 is false. Yes, I'm going with Nehru's.
Okay, so Nehruz and
Changing my answer.
Nehruz, Aya, and I think Rima also, you agreed that number 2 is false, right?
Yeah, because this type of language can be used whether or not we are alone.
Uh-huh. Okay, so it doesn't mean
I think-
every single... you're talking about number 3 now, Rima. You're not talking about number 2.
Yes, I'm talking about number 3.
Okay. So because the other girls were discussing, I think, number 2. But number 3, Rima, you say because you don't need 2 people in the room, right? For there is no one else in the room. Is this the part you inferred your answer from?
Excuse me?
Is this the part where you got your answer from?
Yes, for just a minute. This type of language can be used whether or not we are alone.
Okay, so this means you want to choose false.
False, yes.
Okay, so let's write false in front of number 3. And then we can see. Okay, so false. What about number 4? It says we are becoming more aware of how language is used for emotional expression. What do you think? Is this true? Is it false? And where is it from? Or is this in the second part of the text? Oops, sorry. Okay, Nehruz thinks number 3 is false. Okay, so you also agree with Rima. Sorry, I meant true. Okay, so we have some disagreement over number 3. Let's write the other answer. Let's write both answers. So one of you thinks it's false, another thinks it's true. All right. Now number 4. Who has an answer for number 4? Or before we answer number 4, where is it from? Which part of the text is?
I think it's true.
Okay,
But
Abdurrauf, I think your connection is...
yes, I'm with you.
Okay. Number 4, you think it's true?
I think yes. The last 3 lines.
The last three lines. Who agrees with Abdurrauf? I'm going to write his answer, but we still don't know for sure. So Abdurrauf says it's true. What do you guys think? Any other different answers from Abdurrauf? Aya, Rose, what do you think?
I
Rima?
thought it was not given, but I'm second guessing myself now.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's write your possible answer as not given.
Yes, I'd go for not given.
All right, then. So we have a not given here. Wafa is gone, I think.
I agree with Nehruz. I think it's not given.
All right, so not given also for Nehru is good. For Rima, sorry. Okay, what about number 5? I think number 5 is from the second part of the text. Let's go to the second part of the text. Okay, so these are on the screen. Okay, never mind. Okay, so let's see. What do we have for number 5? True, false, or not given. It says interjections are similar in all languages. What do you think? What do interjections mean anyway?
I think it's at the end of the first paragraph. It
Is
says
it?
wow or ouch. Or
Let's go back.
the last lines.
Yeah. Here it says interjections. You're right there, Aya. Okay, so Neiruz says it's not given.
I agree with Nehru's not given.
Okay, so you also think it's not given. They are similar in all languages. All right, doesn't say anything about all languages here. You might be right. Okay. What about number 6? Phrases like good morning. Can we use them to express a range of feelings? Is this true? Is it false? What do you think?
I didn't find this phrase.
Okay,
Good
this is in the second part of the text. Yeah. Here it is. I'm going to help you a bit. It's in the last 4 sentences of the first paragraph.
False.
Okay, so who said false?
Me.
Aya says it's false. Neiruz also just typed it's false.
False.
Abdurrauf, you think it's false?
Yeah.
Why do you think it's false?
I think it's true.
You think it's true, Rima? Why do you think it's true?
I don't know, but from the general meaning, I think it's true.
Okay, the general meaning of what? Of the whole text or of a specific sentence?
It says in the. Go ahead. No.
Go ahead, Aya.
No, it's okay. You go ahead.
Okay. I think from the paragraph, range of movement, because but rather to maintain a comfortable relationship between the people, no factual content is individual.
Yes,
I
it
don't
is.
know the
I think,
specific sentences, but from the general meaning, I think it's true.
All right, okay.
do not communicate ideas in the usual sense.
I think this is the key actually to number 6. All right, so we have some disagreement on number 6. What about 7?
True.
All right, Aya says it's true. False. Nehru says it's false.
I think it's
I thi-
false.
I
Abdurrahman,
think it's false
Mhm.
Some
because
cultures avoid this type of language and prefer silence.
Mhm. What about you, Rima? Which sentence do you...
yes, because the weather is not as universal as a conversation filler as English people might like to think. Other topics are
Mhm.
used to.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. I said true for number 8. I
Okay.
thought. Okay, so not number 7.
So number 7 means it's false according to the rest of you guys,
Yes,
right?
yes. False.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. All right. Now number 8, Aya says it's true. Now, what about the rest of the team? What do you think?
I
Yes,
think
it's
it's
true.
true.
It's true? Okay. Okay, now before we check the answers, a very quick question. What do you think of this question now compared to when we did it for, okay, Neiruz also says it's true. Compared when we did it with Silpo Gomero, what do you think? Is it any different or is it easier, harder? Your opinion on this?
It's definitely a step up,
I think it's this.
in my opinion.
Okay, so it's a step up from the first one, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so I agree with you. This time it's a little more complicated and the differences are a little more, I think, subtle, and they need more attention, especially with the I think number 3, I think, and maybe number 5. A few of them are a little tricky. Now, okay, let me show you the answers and let's see how close you were to getting the real thing. Okay, so now here we are. All right, so here it is. Can you see all of them?
Yeah.
Yes.
Clear.
Yeah. So, okay, let me just refresh the screen. Okay, so number 1, most people are aware that a major function of language is to communicate ideas. This is true. Okay. And the sentence is here. The answer that most of us would give, this must surely be the most widely recognized function of language. So let's check this in the text itself. And here it is. This one, the last, sorry, the sentence 3 and 4 from here. I think it's clear. You can see it. Okay, now number 2. I think some of you got this wrong, right? We communicate ideas every time we use a language. And the correct answer is no, we don't always do this because there are several other functions where the communication of ideas is irrelevant. So sometimes we don't communicate ideas. Now there's a general rule I'd like you to keep in mind. Whenever in IELTS you see determiners which are absolute, always be a little wary, be a little skeptical. So whenever you see what I mean here by absolute determiners is words like every, all, never, no one, nobody, everybody. Do you get the idea? Determiners or words which indicate 100% of something or 100% of a group. Whenever you have this in a question, it's very likely there's a trick. So here, when number 2, when it says we communicate ideas every time we use a language. So every, this is the trick word. If they said most of the time, this would have been correct. But because of the word every, they're excluding any other possibility for the use of language. And even without reading the text, you should already be a little skeptical that this could possibly be false. You get the idea here with the yeah. So always be a little skeptical whenever you see absolute determiners, absolute words. Think again. Okay, number 3. The communication of ideas involves at least 2 people. This is true. Okay, nice tip, thanks. Yeah, this is something they do a lot in IELTS, by the way. So number 3, it says here, the communication of ideas involves at least 2 people. I think most of you answered this correctly, I remember. It cannot be communication of ideas, for there is no one else in the room. Yes. Okay. Because if there aren't 2 people, at least 2 people, it's impossible to communicate an idea. Communicate it to who? This is the meaning. Now, number 4, we are becoming more aware of how language is used for emotional expression. This is not given. Here we have one of the commonest uses of language. The writer doesn't say we are becoming more aware of it. So do you see the trick they did here? Number 4. Let me take you back to the text of number 4. So here in number 4, if you see it again, it's, where is it? Here. Can you see paragraph 1, 2? Can you see the second paragraph under emotional expression? The second one, not the first one.
Yes.
Yeah, it starts here. It says, here we have one of the commonest uses of language, a means of getting rid of our nervous energy when we are under stress. This type of language can be used whether or not we are alone. Swear words are probably the commonest signals to be used in this way, especially when we are angry. But there are also many other words we use to express positive feelings, such as affection or reaction to beautiful art or scenery. If you read the whole paragraph, it doesn't say if we are becoming more aware of this or not. And if you check the question, it says we are becoming more aware of how language is used for emotional expression. This paragraph, it does talk about emotional expression, but it doesn't say if we're aware of it or not. So I want you to pay a little attention here to the pattern that we are going to see in all the not given questions. So the pattern I want you to look out for is in not given questions, some candidates usually, or some students preparing for IELTS, when they see the not given, they think that the thing in the question is not mentioned. So they think that this part of, for example, language is used for emotional expression. So they think this part is not mentioned in the text, and also we are becoming more aware it's not mentioned in the text. Many people think the not given question, it means that all of number 4, all of it is not in the text. Some people think this, and this is, of course, it couldn't be further from the truth, because the thing is, part of the question is mentioned in the text. The part that's mentioned is emotional expression. There's always something mentioned, but the details about that something, this is where they trick you. The details about the something in the text, this could be true, this could be false, or this could be not given. So whenever you read a question in true, false, not given, and you think the whole point is not in the text, this means you've missed it. You're mistaken, because there is a point in the text. The details regarding the point, this is what could be true, false, or not given, if you get what I mean. I don't know if this point is clear or not. So let me know if it's not clear, but I'll show it in the 2 other examples we have in number 5 and 6. It's the same thing. Now, number 5 and 6, if we go back to the key answer here, the question, it says interjections are similar in all languages. Again, they're using a determiner here, an absolute word, all. This could be a trick. So number 5, it says the writer refers to the semi-linguistic noises, often called interjections, such as wow and ouch, but not to languages other than English. So again, it's the same thing as number 4. Here in the question, interjections, they talk about interjections, and in the text we do have interjections, but the second part of the second part of the clause, similar in all languages, this is we have issue with this part. This is where we don't agree with the question, and this is the part that's not given. The first part is given. Again, number 6, we'll see this little thing that they do. It's repeated again. So let's read number 6. Phrases like good morning can be used to express a range of feelings. Again, good morning is in the text, and they used other phrases like have a good day and another 2, I think. The reason why this is not given, because the writer refers to the use of phrases such as good morning to maintain a comfortable comfortable relationship between people, but doesn't mention other feelings the phrases might express. Okay. So a range of feelings, we only have one feeling the writer expressed, which is to maintain a comfortable relationship. Now if I take you back to the text, and if we study a little carefully the way the writer talked about phrases such as good morning. Now here, let's go back. So if you look here, it says, starting from here, from sentence 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Similarly, the use of such phrases as good morning or pleased to meet you and conventional exchanges about health or the weather do not communicate ideas in the usual sense. All right. So it doesn't even say, doesn't give us any other details about the range of other ways to use this question. I don't know if this is clear or not, but this is what they mean here by not given. Okay. Now the last 2 I think are obvious, but the real trick in this question I think was number 4, 5, and 6. This is where we had the problems. In paragraph 6. Let's very quickly check paragraph 6. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. Okay. I hope the especially the not given part is a little clearer after these 2 exercises, because this is where most of the problems are in trying to identify, is this false or is it not given? I think someone had a question before I interrupted him or her. Did any of you have a question? Okay, so no questions. Okay, so this is okay, so there's someone. Okay, no. Okay, so this is just a quick introduction into the true, false, not given question. I don't want to say it's the hardest question in the exam, but maybe it is, because for me, when I was practicing for my IELTS exam, this was the one that remained last. I kept making mistakes in this one, especially with the not given and false part. So if this happens to you, my advice is just leave it till the last, because there are other types of questions in reading which might be a little easier than the true, false, not given. But this is just, like I said, this is an introduction into the true, false, not given questions. And I'm just going to quickly remind you of the other types of questions you have in the reading module. So these are just other examples. Today we only covered this one. We managed to do 2 exercises. One of them was more of a sort of just a quick intro, much easier. The second one was a little like you just saw, was a little harder. So this is what we covered today, the true, false, not given. And hopefully in the other lessons, we can tackle each other question type with more exercises. And we can also increase the difficulty, because what we did today was a sort of, like I said, band 6, probably level of around band 6 reading. I also have the advanced book, so we might find true, false, not given in a more difficult maybe setting. And of course, not to forget the mock tests themselves, which are, I think, the closest thing to the real thing. So we'll also have a chance to do this as well in the future. So that's all for today, I think. I don't know if you have any questions. I can take any of your questions before we leave. And otherwise, until next time. So feel free, if you have any questions, please, you can ask me. Okay, everybody's quiet. Okay, Abdurrauf says, thank you. All right. Okay, so no questions from Abdurrauf. Let's see the other guys. So Aya, any questions? Feel free to ask. Aya, okay, no questions from Aya. And let's see, maybe Niruz has a question, maybe Rima, if you have any questions about today's, I might have exercises. If you're interested, I can send you an exercise in true, false, not given, just to sort of maybe get it drilled a little better. If you're interested in a question, just buzz me, text me on the page mail, just send me a letter. This way, sure, why not? Okay, but you really have to just text me on, because I will definitely not remember, because I have about 1,000 messages on the inbox because of the sponsored ad I made for the, so I will not remember if you don't ask me specifically, okay? Abdurrauf is full of yes, no, not given. That's a good, okay. All right, so that's all for today. Again, thank you very much. I took a little longer than I expected, but I wanted, this is sort of the plan of, you're welcome, Rima. This is the plan of the IELTS course. It might get a little dull because I want to be thorough. This is the thing. I don't want it to be just a general course. And I know there's a bit of a difficulty with reading and sort of managing with your phone, and I'll try to make it as easy as possible, but it will be like this, at least for now, for the tasks, for reading tasks. I want the students in the course to get used to each question type, because these question types, they will be in your exam, whether it's true, false, not given, whether sentence completion, note completion. We will go through the other types of questions. So even the true, false, not given, we're not done with it yet. Like I said, we still need to drill it a little more before we move on to other exercises. And for those who are already subscribed, like Aya, of course, definitely you will get, I think, more goodies, maybe more exercises as natural part of the course. And for the others, our guests today, feel free to ask me about how to subscribe for this course, any questions you have whatsoever regarding the course, or how to subscribe, or anything else, please just send me a message. I'll be happy to answer. And finally, thanks for your time. Also, I'd like to ask one last favor. If you enjoyed the lesson, I'd appreciate it if you leave a review. You don't have to say it was the best lesson in the world, because I know it was the best, but you could use your own words. I would recommend you use the best lesson ever, but you could choose your own words. I don't want to be too pushy, but I would definitely appreciate leaving a review with your general impression on the lesson. And that's all for today. And thanks very much, and good night, everyone. You're welcome. And okay, good night. You're welcome.